Oh, by the way, tuba. Arsenal. Arsenal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another brawl on Runeterra Rising, where we will be having Absolute Shurima facing off against Freljord. Two teams who have proven to be a handful for their opponents up until now, but who have faced some minor adversity. I'm one of your casters, Maheshwara. Together with me, Cinco. Cinco, how are you feeling?
I am doing so good, and I'm so excited to be casting this series. It is going to be a very fun one to watch.
Yeah, we've got a lot to unpack. First off, we will be starting with a minor information that we will be passing on later on. Due to a power outage of one of the players for Freljord, there is a last-minute substitution coming in, which you will be addressing later on during the draft. So if you see a different name, don't be surprised. But let's first talk about how both teams got here. First off, I will go through Absolute Shurima. Absolute Shurima has only lost one series all season. And that has been again a 2-0 defeat to the unstoppable Piltovers which occurred in week 2. However, in the first week, they won their series. On the Rift, it was a 2-0. However, due to a minor mishap, it ended up being ruled into a 2-1, and they got docked some points due to a unfortunate miscommunication on a couple of parts, where one player didn't report all his accounts. Then, after that, in week 3, they beat Noxus 2-1, and then they won the 2-1 rematch against Demacia, which they had lost 2-0 in the, which they had won 2-0 in the first week, and it went 2-1 this time. Demacia managed to take a game off them, but in the end, they still prevailed. Freljord, on the other hand, well, they came out of the gate swing. Absolutely manhandling Void in the Void team in week 1, before winning 2-0 against Zon in week 2. So looking absolutely super strong, but unfortunately they came undone versus the same Piltover team that beat Absolute Shurima earlier on. Hence, they are the 2 seed, and they will be playing this match. Freljord being the higher seed, they had side selection. They took red side, and Shurima ended up taking the blue side. So, my suggestion is we will quickly go through the roles, and we will be alternating that between the casters. I'll start with the top lane. So for Shurima, we've got BMW, who's very well known for his Darius, and who will be facing off against Huali, who is absolutely known for his Aatrox, but has a mean Darius of himself as well. So expect that pick to be contested. Will you introduce the junglers, Cinco?
Well, okay, so for the first jungler on Huali's team, we have Elmo being in the jungle. And then on the other team, we have, I think it is Expert, who's the jungler for their team.
Indeed,
and I remember playing against both of these junglers, and both of them extremely good at what they did.
Okay, look at that. However, quick thing which will become a point of contention upon having done some research. Their jungle pool doesn't look really deep, so it's going to be interesting to see how they will go through the rest. Then, in the mid lane, we have Katito. Katito for Absolute Shurima. Probably the strongest mid laner in the pool. However, he has shown some vulnerability in his last series, so it's going to be interesting to see if he's patched that up prior to this matchup. Katito known for his Talia, potential misfortune in the mid lane, and not shy of putting an AD carry in the mid lane, be it Vayne, Tristan, or anything else. He's got some. He doesn't mind using some underhand tricks to get an absolute power bonus over the opposing mid lane or mage. Just as much as we hate AD carries in the top lane, we don't like them in the mid lane either. And he will be going up against for the Freljordian team, Valberg. Valberg, who has a rather unique champion pool. The one that comes to mind immediately is Zillion. followed by the Malzahar, Vhagar, and Zoe. It's going to be interesting to see how they end up piloting that, because Azilian is not a pick you often see at any elo, especially not at the lower tiers, so a lot of teams can be caught off guard through that pick. DD carries, will you take them?
Right, over on the Freljords, we do have Slenderwolf being the ADC, and then on Absolute Shurima we have Gumisushi. And see, I don't know too much about each of the ADCs. I'm a top laner myself. I don't really look down there. Pops up as announcement, whatever, right? But I've played a few games with Gumisushi, and he was a very, very good ADC from what I do remember. But Slender did kind of run through our team, I won't lie.
Gumisushi, known for his Kai-san, is Caitlyn, and having a very deep champion pool. Likewise, Slenderwolf, a very deep champion pool, but he is more known for his Lucian. So will be interesting to see if they try to pick away their opposing comfort, or if they will get hands on their own ultra comfort picks. And in the support, well, we for the Absolute Shurima side, we have Senta, known for his Nautilus and having an interesting pool that can either enable or shut down an opposition. Very flexible player. And on the opposite side, well, once the power gets turned on for the poor lad again, we have Cat Nipple. Cat Nipple, known for his Zoe, Leona, Senna, Yumi, Alio, and even Ashe in the bot lane. However, Cat Nipple is unfortunately suffering from a power outage, and hence is currently not available. We hope that he will be able to show up later in the series. That does mean that the Freljordian team do lose their bans, and normally he is going to be replaced by Jason Matt. Jason Matt should be piloting the support position, of course, provided that he can be located on the Rift, which is currently the reason for our little hold-up. We currently don't know. He's still
moving on to the
lobby,
bans
so
that are happening now.
Waiting that. Oh, and in the meanwhile, we do have some bans. So, as I mentioned, Frostguard, the Freljordian team, has no bans on the first three. They lose it because they end up losing their pick, and therefore we will be seeing. In the meanwhile, Absolute Shurima, they're getting rid of the Aatrox. More than logical, I think.
No surprise.
They're getting rid of this. Yeah, none there. The Malzahar, to be honest, no surprise there either. And then the final one is going to be interesting, because considering that one team is not banning it, the question is, as Shurima, you have the absolute choice of what you would like to let through. And the last ban is the Zilean, so they are going to be removing the Zilean. And now the question is, knowing that BMW absolutely loves Darius, does he have enough comfort? Or does he have enough trust in himself? Blind pick it right off the bat. This is going to be the interesting one. We'll see it here fairly shortly after we see this. Oh yeah, something else that has kindly been pointed out. The names for Shurima are not in the correct position. Expert Boga is handling the... Sorry. Expert Boga is opted to go for support instead of his jungle. Interesting. So we've got a little swapperoonie going around for their team. Now the question is, what will be the first pick here?
Pantheon first pick.
Pantheon, which is actually an interesting one, because technically this is a flex. Pantheon.
This could be their top or their support.
Or, well, it's who is playing jungle for this game. We will see if that continues with swapping over after a while. So this could be very, very interesting. It could also be played by Expert Bogger, so technically a triple flex. on the side of the Freljord, we do end up getting a Caitlyn, which is somewhat surprising. Slenderwolf having the option to go to his position and opting not. So
I mean, I feel like this is a very reasonable pick. Caitlyn here, obviously. Someone that you can blind. It's kind of just a power ADC. And taking away that pick that you said beforehand, Gumasushi is very, very confident on, and just taking that away, I feel like it is a very smart move from the Freljord team.
Yep, would be denying that is a smart call. Now the question is here, do you want to take your ultra comfort for Gumasushi being the Kai'Sa? The Kai'Sa kind of responds best to dive comp, and considering you already have the Pantheon, that would be pairing very, very well. As we end up seeing, we see a
bit of a Bard pick.
A Bard pick, a Boggart, for Boggart spell here. He is very, very well Bard, very good on support, so end up blocking that in, and it looks like he's just trying to make sure that they take all the comfort picks, which probably would get banned away, so that they have played that and then can fall back onto some relaxing champions. A Ziggs.
I mean, just knowing that Bard literally never gets let through for Expert, I think he's really happy here being able to lock in that Bard early.
Yeah, and Ziggs technically also being a flex pick here, can go mid lane, can go bot lane. So again, they're opting for plenty of flexes for absolute Shurima. A very good first part, and then the question is, what will they answer it here? They are going to answer it with the Nautilus. Nautilus being one of Senta's better champions when he's playing support is a direct denial, so chalking that off to the board is never a bad one. Should Center and Expert Boga end up swapping at a later stage, very good having denied that. And now we will see some bans, because Frostguard do end up having options to ban later on, so we will be seeing them banning in the second round. As they do, and they opt to immediately go for the Rammus, which to me indicates that they think that this Pantheon is going to go into a lane and not into the jungle, because that Rammus ban is angled towards center.
I mean, it does make... I mean, I'm not too sure about that, right? Because with center playing in jungle, he has played quite a few games on top of Pantheon, so I'm a little interested by that ban. I wouldn't be too confident that this isn't a Pantheon jungle.
Then again, for the side of the Freljord, it's really hard banning something out, because you've got a flex Ziggs who can go AD carry or mid. The only champion you know who is locked in is, and Pantheon can go top or jungle. So technically they could be banning a position that has already been locked in, and they would be nothing about it. They don't know where these champions are going. So I understand the bans here, Rammus and Smolder. Smolder just because it's a really overpowered champion currently.
We're getting the solo. And anybody been playing solo queue recently? We see Smolder getting banned every single game. So it looks like not going to be let through here either.
Yeah, it's a wise choice. Bit of an overpowered right now, especially with the rune. With his new rune, so that goes down, and then we end up getting a Shen and Renekton ban angled towards Huali, which means that, well, he's got a large amount of mastery on Andadarius and Mordekaiser. He could very well still be opting into that. However, I do not expect the Frostguard to show their test yet. I would be expecting him.
Pick Poppy.
Or jungle. No, sorry, a jungle
Poppy
pick.
Jungle.
What was I saying? It's probably Poppy jungle. Elmo piloting the Poppy.
I mean, this looks This looks absolutely incredible from them. I won't lie, because of that Poppy just being able to deny Pantheon, being able to just jump onto all of the carries, getting that CC down. I feel like that could be really well to shut down this Pantheon.
Yeah, I understand that reasoning. I do think that there's only one dash, so I'm kind of surprised they opted to take that, but we'll see how that pans out. Gumes opting for the Senna, which he has piloted before. That back then it was with center as his paired support and a center Tam Kench lane. And here we will end up seeing where this Pantheon is going to be going. That Pantheon is to be going towards the lane, most likely be a Wukong for the center, which rounds this comp fairly nicely.
And as you were talking about, we see that Mordekaiser lock-in from Holly, a very, very good comfort pick for him.
Yeah, it's and not only that, he has a very nice lane into Pantheon, so this should be a fun matchup for Huali. Should be looking forward to that rather easily. And then both teams, we have both full team comps up right now. Also, something I always like to ask, Cinco, what do you think of these two teams? Which one do you prefer? Who are we looking forward to? Which matchup are we looking forward to the most, and why?
I mean, looking at the team comps on Frostguard, we do have a very much front-to-back kind of team where we have, you know, the Mordekaiser, Poppy being two tanks, and then having the Nautilus being able to frontline for the rest of this team. But that being said, the amount of damage that can be dished out quickly by the Shuriman team is not something that, you know, they might be prepared for. They need to be constantly aware in case of this just hop on from the Pantheon onto engage from everyone else. It is a lot of damage that goes out extremely quickly.
One thing we do get to mention, which I'll say Catito has done again, he's decided to pilot an AD carry in the mid lane, ladies and gentlemen. He's decided to go for a bit of an odd matchup here. Throw everybody a loop, and they have flexed the Ziggs down to the bot lane, which means a very heavy poke lane. Fairly decent into the Caitlyn, so gotta say this works for Catito. Hats off, job well done, and a nice curve they've thrown within the picks and bans.
Jason
there is something else I want to.
The Bard is a little bit further away, getting a little bit more poke and just making it a lot harder for this Ziggs.
Yeah, and there's one thing that's rather interesting. Look at the rune. Anything you've noticed?
I've noticed a spellbook on Nautilus.
Not just Nautilus. It's a double spellbook on both supports, which will end up causing some interesting decision making when it comes to objectives. Oh, and we see
more hooks going down. Jason is just hitting these hooks at the exact timers that Expert's going away to ward up.
Yep,
unfortunate that
we
hook
do
doesn't
see
land. That would have been a lot of damage onto Expert right there if it did.
Yeah, and we do see some interesting stacking already in the mid lane.
A lot of damage going down onto the Annie, forcing the flash, but unfortunately it's just not enough while Annie is going to go down. We're going to see a gank inside of the bot lane with Jason just getting caught out completely just in the middle of the three of them. He's unfortunately going to go down there. What a very nice gank timer for center.
Yeah, center opting to clean out very well, pathing down towards his bot side, who undoubtedly are fairly strong, and with having done a perfect wave management, making sure that the lane was pushing into him, this ended up being a very easy gank on the side of Absolute Shurima. Now, the important part is, and the thing that I will be looking forward to most, is how Katito does here in the mid lane, because Senna, once she hits 20 stacks and he's already at 9, she becomes a proper AD carry. At 40, it's Caitlyn range, and after that, it's Largen and Caitlyn range. When you're in a bot lane, it's very easy to stack these souls up. However, when you're in a solo lane, it becomes a lot harder. So this requires a proper amount of poke and tug of war in the mid lane, which currently he is executing to a T.
Over here we do see Nautilus taking up a bit of space, but he does get spotted out by that Bard Q.
The only saving grace currently in the bot lane is the little CS lead that we do have for the Caitlyn. So that part is still going very much in the advantage of the Frost Guard. As we see,
and we have a little bit of a gank going into the mid lane. We're gonna get a little bit more damage down onto that Senna, letting Annie get a little bit more space to play, but Senna is going to be leveling up onto level 6.
Yeah, until Valberg has access to Tibbers, I don't really feel that there's a really easy part to gank in the mid lane. Not only that, Katito has decided to opt for a
looking for a little bit of a bush play onto the Pantheon. Pantheon dodging the E, does not get pulled in, uses his empowered W onto the Pantheon and gets, you know, a little bit of poke, but he does take quite a bit of damage in return for that. But we do see that because Poppy is just inside of her top lane, looks like First Strike is just going to be going over to the Shroons.
Yeah, and Shurima getting out to a nice start. First 2 kills, first objective. Inside a 1k gold lead inside 6 minutes. It's a good start. We will have to see how the Frost Guard reacts to this currently.
A little bit of a hook onto Expert. Not going to result in anything there though.
Slenderwolf going for a very aggressive
Caitlyn very nicely dodging that Bard Q as well, just to make sure that she doesn't need to be put down in that position for much longer. And the Senna ult does come out, killing that Annie that was just on the tiniest sliver of HP left.
Yeah, very good play also from Katito, knowing that you can Q through a ward, making sure that he got some extra much needed damage onto the Annie to make sure that she was in execute range. Meanwhile, we see a flurry of fights going on.
Into there, taking away the blue from Xeniac here. And Center walking down to make sure that their bot laners are not contested.
And I gotta say, this is some very nice coordinated team play from the absolute Shurima side. Very clearly knowing what they want to do, where they want to be on the map, and operating very well as a team so far. That's nice to see. And meanwhile, Wally is just neutralizing this lane in the top lane. Currently, he doesn't have to do a whole lot more than that, because he is the guy who he had the counter pick though. But
this is quite surprised. I'm quite surprised that he did lock in the Mordekaiser, just knowing that Mordekaiser playing into a Pantheon in top lane is a little rough. It is quite rough, so seeing Wally just being able to neutralize this lane completely is very nice.
Yeah, and not only that, the important part here also is that it's one of his comfort picks, so it should be fairly decent. However,
looks like we are going to get a fight happening onto the Void Grubs, with Center going out with the Wukong ult, getting a lot of damage onto both the jungler and the Sport. Sport is going to go down. The jungler is on a sliver of HP, but he does get caught out by Bandito's flash auto with the Center range. Timber's going to be coming out just to try to make sure that Annie doesn't die, but Annie does have to pop the flash to get out, and that is going to be the Void Grubs going over to the Shurima side as well.
Yeah, and not only that, I feel like anytime you want to go through an objective, you need to make sure that you have a checklist of things that are ready to be executed before you start on it. Number one is, do you at least have lane prior in one lane? In the mid lane, most certainly was not the case. In the top lane, Pantheon can always jump in while it can't really do a whole lot. So I like having roamed Jason Matt up for the objective, but you're basically forcing something here without full vision or prio that you haven't set up properly, which is normally point number 2. Making sure that you've got the necessary vision. And as we see a little damage graph here, Katito absolutely dishing out serious damage in the mid lane onto the Valberg, having gotten 2 kills so far. And be it a ward, a minion, or anything else, he's using any object he can find to use as an to angle his shots onto Valberg. Meanwhile, we see a little trade in the bot lane. But Nautilus does decide to back out. Boga looking to see if he can get anything.
With this Caitlyn on such low HP and not being able to get her back off right there, she might be forced to stay for this next wave, putting her into an extremely vulnerable position. With their jungler on the top side now resetting, coming down, we see the Sentinel going out as well, getting a little bit more damage onto the Nautilus. Both of them extremely low under their turret. They might need to look for recalls here, even if it means missing this next wave.
Yeah, and not only that, Katito has ticked over the 20 stacks, so right now he's become a proper champion, so to speak, with decent range, just inferior to Caitlyn for now. That shouldn't be taking too much longer.
A lot of trading happening inside of the top lane right now, with BMW really just looking to fight this Mordekaiser. Gets a lot of damage taken down onto him because of that Q, that isolated Q that landed. Has to flash out of the way of the final Q, but he does manage to get the XQ damage onto the Mordekaiser, letting him take him out even during the Mordekaiser's ult. Very, very close fight in the top lane there.
Yeah, and I think that Hwali will be slightly disappointed because he missed a couple of skills there. Could have had the Pantheon. BMW played very well, making sure that he actually just got in here. And despite having the vision control, again, you haven't set everything up yet. You've got no prio from bot. Your bot can only start rotating now. And remember that in mid lane, there's a massive prio, so Annie coming down.
It looks like they do want to be fighting for this. With the Bard ult going out, making sure that Slenderwolf doesn't get to fight first, but it looks like Vilberg might be getting caught out here by the Pantheon coming down, and with Vilberg down, it's just a 3v5, and it does not look like they want to be fighting anymore for that.
No, and so
however,
far,
the one saving grace, Mordekaiser is going to be able to get some plates down, but there's going to be even more trading happening inside of the bot lane right now, with the Expert going extremely low, but he is able to use his little wall to get over. With more fighting happening inside of the top lane, we see Pantheon ult onto the Mordekaiser, blocking a lot of that damage, but looks like it's just going to be some short trading until just to go collect that wave.
Smart uses of the Pantheon ult, the Grand Skyfall, making sure that he gets back up into the top lane and gets to collect his wave after that roam down. Good use of the TP as well, I'd say, making sure that they ended up with another kill. And Katito happy to share around, and inside 12 minutes, he has doubled up the CS on Valberg and is up 3.2k gold. That's a full item.
It is quite rough for Vilberg right now. It is very rough for Vilberg.
So Vilberg is going to be in a pretty rough space. Meanwhile, Expert Boga on the board. The one thing you always know that the bard is going to do, he's going to decide to have some random roams. Elmo making sure, or also known as Zemniak, making sure that he roams up. So potentially turning that into a 2v2.
That was a crit, putting a lot of damage down onto that Annie. She gets hit by the stun as well, and she's going to take that stack away as well. With the Gumisushi alone in the bot lane here, I'd be quite scared of a dive angle on this next wave.
Yeah, but the issue is that you don't really have the setup because he's got a massive amount of wave clear. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, once that turret is gone...
In the mid lane, Vilberg's going to get hit by the Bard ultimate, locking him in space. He's forced to use the flash to dodge the Q, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it is, as Vilberg does go down once again, and we see a BMW as well gets his W cancelled by the Poppy, getting pulled back into the Mordekaiser. Could they be looking for a dive here? No, it looks like the moment he got into that turret, they just said, you know what, he's safe now. We've done what we can.
Yeah, and the thing is right now, everything that the Frost Guard is trying, for now, it's kind of falling short. Meanwhile, we do see Nautilus
this could be a very nice
walking
angle
up
onto Cat Bandito here, getting the hook down with the Caitlyn finally in range, puts the trap down. We get a lot of trading onto Cat Bandito there, but it looks like he is going to be able to get away. This looks like it could be a dive angle onto the Annie here. Jungler coming down. Is Annie going to be able to do anything really to stay alive here? And it does not look like there will be an opportunity for the Annie to be staying alive with the Wukong ult going out.
Yeah, as
Pantheon being able to hit the W
on,
onto
and
the
right now
just getting a little bit more poke damage down with another fight going on in the mid lane. Cat Bandito caught out once again by this Nautilus getting hooked in. Slender is going to be taking down that shutdown with Slender on such low HP, getting a bit too close to that Pantheon. The Pantheon is going to take him out, but the Pantheon is going to be traded out by the rest of the team. Fogga is going to be able to get away, be cut in as a result of that Bard ult.
Yeah, and some much-needed shutdowns going over the other side. Despite that, it is still a 5k gold lead after 15 minutes for Absolute Shurima.
It looks like we might be in another fight again for the Herald. We have a lot of damage going down onto Jasoma immediately. Does not look like he's going to be able to do much, but Center does find that engage onto him and kills him immediately. Folly on less than half HP with that shield up. What is he going to be able to do with Folly just being alone here? Does not have the things to get out. He's just caught in the middle of 4 of them. There's not much that he's going to be able to do there.
Very rough position, and right now gold lead is increasing to 6k. 2 dragons up. You've nearly gotten all the objectives for Absolute Shurima, and you are in an absolute commanding position. Because if you look at the mid lane, it is a 4.4k gold lead. It's a full item and then some. And not only that, Catito is making sure that he's getting access to all the turrets. All
With
turret gold,
the mid lane turret going down, they're just fully opening up the mid lane. Really nice for the tempo that they'll need for these later objectives as well.
Meanwhile, Catito has ended up getting more than 40 stacks, which means that he now has an equal range on the Senna as we have for the...
With the Caitlyn. BMW going to be able to try to flash out into some sort of position. They're not entirely sure what that flash was for, but he's looking to trade onto Vilberg as much as possible, but he is going to go down before he's able to get that Annie. Unfortunate for BMW right there.
Yeah.
However, Vilberg looks a little bit too low to be going for this, and unfortunately, that Bard ult does seem to block a lot of damage going from the Wukong ultimate, but the Ziggs ultimate does go out, killing Gumasushi, and it looks like they're just once again gonna have to walk away and concede this Drake again.
Meanwhile,
it might not be the case though. It might not be the case though. Center, once again, just getting a little bit more poke onto this Poppy, try to zone her away from the Drake, and Cat Bandito with that 5k gold lead, just so strong already, just able to absolutely one-shot the Mordekaiser there.
It would be interesting to see if production could whip up a screen where we can see all the gold and all the champions, because I got a feeling that he is absolutely so far ahead this game with his current build. He should be getting some access to a 3rd item shortly. He's had nearly 2 full turret plates going towards his way, and of course, having had all the gold, that does mean that you generally end up on the tops of the charts when it comes to damage. Meanwhile, we see a little chart here with the kill participation. Caitlyn currently having 100% kill participation out of all 4 kills. It's your one saving grace, because Slendorf currently is ahead, and if you title up correctly, you
Looks
might
like
be able to play
Mordekaiser
for
will
it.
be getting caught out here, having a lot of damage put down onto him immediately. He does have that shield ready though, and that is a lot of damage on that Q. Expert Bugger might be going down, but there goes the Bard ultimate, which allows him to get enough time to flash out of there, and it looks like Huawei will just about get away with his life with the rest of the team here to save him, but the Senna just does so much damage already. Oh, and it looks like Tibbers is going to be put down onto this Pantheon, and Pantheon's going to be taking a lot of the health away from this Annie, but with Tibbers right on top of him, it does not look like he'll be able to deal enough damage to get rid of the Annie quick enough, and after it does fall down, we might be seeing more fights for this top turret. A 4v4 is what we might be seeing here. Obviously, with Senna having so many stacks at this point, just abusing her range as much as possible. And as Center already goes in, pops the ultimate, is kind of caught out in the middle of all of them. He will go down without being able to trade anyone back, but he takes a lot of HP with him. This Senna is going to be getting caught out a little bit, is forced to use the flash juice, getting caught by the Mordekaiser E. And that looks like the end of that fight.
And if I can say anything here, the big thing here is that they're trying for a little dish deathwood, seeing if somebody will show up.
And it looks like the Poppy is completely alone here, but it does not look like the Shurima side know that he's completely alone, decides to just back away instead.
And I think that's a sensible decision. You've got a massive lead, no need to overextend it, and maybe give over some unnecessary shutdowns. Currently, the only one having a shutdown is your Ziggs, after Katito gave up his earlier. If we take stock at the game, 20 minutes have passed, 7k gold lead. Shurima are consistently just making sure that they are getting up in numbers, and right now you're approaching a territory that is becoming dangerously unrecoverable. More often than not, that range is near 6k or 6.5k gold, and the absolute Shurima is on top of it.
We do see the Pantheon R going out onto the Mordekaiser to try to stop him from taking this turret, but this turret is just low enough for him to just, tank through all this Pantheon damage. Will he be able to get out afterwards? That is the question here. Does not look like it, with a lot of damage going down onto the Mordekaiser already. The Pantheon is just going to be able to get away with just killing him under that turret.
Yeah, but funnily enough, having taken that turret, you get bonus comeback golds, and you see that the gold lead has gone from a 7.2k to a 6.6k, despite having had a death. So technically, this is a very good death, making sure that you die here for the turret, securing yourself gold and team gold all around. Meanwhile, we are...
Looks like we have a fight going down inside of the bot jungle with 4 people from the Shurima side going in already, and we see that the Wukong going in is able to absolutely just melt people with that Zigzag going out to get a little bit more poke damage to ensure that they are zoned away from this fight completely and forced to back. With the Drake coming up in 25 seconds, it looks like they just want as much damage down as fast as possible to make sure that they are not able to contest this Drake. And we see Cat Bandito walking up a little bit further, trying to get a little bit more poke damage going down, as well as these Ziggs putting down a bunch of these traps, nearly getting Elmo out completely. He's on 1 HP, he's not allowed to walk up anymore. They're trying to defend this turret, but Nautilus is taking a lot of damage from every single side. And it looks like this turret is just going to be completely taken over, and they're going to be going for that Mountain Drake.
And meanwhile, it is not looking too good for the thing, and this could be an early 24-minute soul if things play out the way they are currently right now. And I am very concerned right about now, because that is a soul that's going to make it even harder for people to just cut through.
Elmo trying to walk in, maybe looking for a steal at this point, using the ult to get the Pantheon away. Is Zemiak going to have his smite ready and good enough to take away this Drake? And it does not look like it. Shurimas are going to be taking the soul, but there's a lot of action going down inside of the pit with the Wukong ult coming out and the Mordekaiser fighting inside of just a flurry of enemies. We actually see a 3v2 going down, so while they do get the soul point 3 of them die, handing over a lot of gold over to the Frost Guards.
Yeah, and as Frost Guards, obviously you are happy you have been able to get the gold onto the one person who could potentially do something for you, being the Caitlyn. However, if we look at the stacks right now, Katito has ended up with well over 80 stacks, which means that Senna is outranging Caitlyn by 50 units already, and this is only going to be increasing. So the longer this game goes, the worse it's going to get for them. And I gotta feel right now, Wolf, he's gotta be feeling bad for Sidor because he's got the AD carry with the highest range. He has been playing it nearly to a T, has a 2k gold lead. However, his team is somewhat behind, and therefore he's fighting a really uphill battle, knowing that the longer this game goes, the more he'll get outranged. Not a fun prospect to look forward to.
I mean, when speaking of auto attack ranges, obviously Caitlyn being a very good lock just for the amount of range that she can poke at, but Ziggs being an amazing pick against the Caitlyn, just because Ziggs, while maybe not having as much of an auto attack range, his lethal range is absolutely abusive to play against. The amount of, and in a lot of cases, just completely outranging this Caitlyn with all of his spells.
Yeah, and so far things are looking a bit bleak. Right now, if you are the Frost Guard, the one thing you should be holding on to is the fact that the gold lead, it hasn't been growing as
we do
late.
see them start
However,
up. We do see them start up Baron as a 2-man in top lane, with the Ziggs and Bard rotating over and the Pantheon taking a little bit of attention into the bot lane where the Poppy and Annie both are. Looks like they're just trying to take the straight completely uncontested.
I know it's purple and it looks like a Drake, but this is still a worm.
Oh, sorry, Baron.
Meanwhile, we do gotta point something out. Center has been a little bit over eager on the smites. He's been a bit too early on most of them so far. However, it does not matter if you keep securing them for your team because they are getting uncontested. And this Baron play, well, technically you should be opening up the rest of the map here. So it's probably.
I mean, hey, I wouldn't dock Censor too much for his smites. You know, when it came to matter, he did hit the smite faster than Zemniak did, than Elmo did. So he's doing a better job than I was.
Well, I mean, but you're a top laner, right? As junglers, we pride ourselves on getting our smites down. Ooh, look at that.
Don't call me just a solo top laner, okay? I've played level 1 to 180 on my account being only jungle.
Well, meanwhile, we do see Annie getting Hilbert absolutely getting blown up by the Pantheon because unfortunately he's
taking a lot of damage, being forced to flash over that wall to make sure that he does not die to this team that is just, you know, taking this mid turret away from them with this Baron buff. Not really much they can do to protect that, with Pantheon contesting this bot turret as well, with all those Baron buffed cannon minions just chipping away at the turret. Even though Poppy's sat there, they can't stop that turret from going away, and this looks like it's going to be 2 inhibitors going over to the Shurimans. We could be looking at some of the final fights of this match, trying to hold on for dear life. It looks like the Frost Guards are just kind of letting these turrets die slowly from these Baron minions. But Poppy getting the ult away from 2 of them, putting this into a 5v3. It looks like this might actually be a turnaround fight, but no, the rest of the team does get back in time, and just the amount of damage that they're dealing out with a 12 lead, it's just, even though they had a temporary 5v3, it does not look like it's enough to substitute the damage that they got from that gold lead, and it looks like the game will be going over to the Shurimans.
And with that Baron play, they managed to get a 6.5k gold lead Baron play just off the Baron alone. That just went to show how far they were ahead stat-wise, not only just range-wise, item-wise. And we gotta say, this was a very comprehensive victory for our Shuriman side, making sure that Absolute Shurima are going 1-up in this series. And the Frost Guard, they've got some thinking to it. They've got some rethinking to do because they kind of got rolled in game one. Some things need to be sorted out. Obviously, playing with a last-minute substitution is going to throw your team cohesion off to a certain degree. So we can be hopeful that Cat Nipple's power has been restored. If not, we will probably see another game of Jason Matt as an emergency sub. However, unless you have something else to add, my suggestion is that we would throw it over to a break and catch them back once we know who is playing.
I mean,
especially
just before we do head over to a break, this game's MVP and ace. That's what I'm trying to hear.
Ooh, good. I think that the MVP and the ace are easily communicated. The MVP has to be Catito. He took control of his lane, absolutely dominated it, then made sure that he was throwing an ult left, right, and center to the side lanes, and had an absolutely dominant performance, even though he was playing an AD carry in the mid lane. Shame on you, Catito. Shame on you. In the meanwhile, for the ace, I think.
I mean, hey,
kind of,
I've got nothing against playing ADCs in weird spots. All right.
Oh no, you're one of those guys who will play an AD carry in the top lane. You disgust
Hey,
me,
listen,
brother.
I'm a proud Vayne main. I am a proud Vayne main.
Oh my god. Production, what have you done to me? Anyhow, that being said, ace-wise, I think that this one itself as well, it has to go to Slenderwolf, who had a very good laning phase despite not having an easy matchup. Managed to get a proper gold lead as well. However, with the rest of his team crumbling around him, he wasn't really in a position to mount a comeback for his team or carry them to any significant.
He tried to hold it up, but Slender is no Atlas.
That world was pretty heavy for him.
Nevertheless,
we will be throwing it over to a break. We will be throwing it over to a break and catch you on the flip side. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back and we are going to be preparing for Game 2. The update on Cat Nipple is that he currently still has no power, therefore we will be seeing Jason playing in Game 2. And we will see how that will progress afterwards. I am assuming that the bans will therefore still be forfeit on the side of the Frost Guard. Also, a little update on the other game that is currently going on. We have number 1 against number 4, Piltover. Sorry, I'm being updated that the bans have been restored, and so we will be seeing Frostguard providing some bans. And the little update on the other series in the same bracket, it is currently 9-3 in favor of Piltover, with Kevin Kong having an absolute stellar performance and currently sitting in a 4 kills to 0 deaths situation. Cinco, if you currently are the Frost Guard, what is your first thing you need to address to try and turn this series and even the score in game-wise?
I mean, just looking at game 1, I feel like they would put if I was in Frostguard's position here, I would try to put a lot more focus on counter-picking that mid lane, because Cat Bandito, when he was put into a favorable matchup, he just absolutely took over the game. So just making sure to shut down Cat Bandito and giving Vilberg a good matchup for him to play. I feel like that would be my call.
I don't think you're wrong there. Meanwhile, the Frost Guard opting to be still on the red side, and so the question will be, will they end up with a counter pick, or are they just going to leave everything open? We will be able to see bans for the first time on their
just
team.
like I just said, looks like they're banning out some of these mid lane picks that Bandito might be wanting to play. With the issue
with the issue with that is Catito's or Cat Bandito's champion pool is a rather deep one. Like, you can throw some bans at him, but the general or the better way to go around this is basically banning what is strong with his picks. That way you can actually get rid of certain aspects of the game rather than just trying to make sure that he doesn't pick certain champions. We do see a Smolder ban being thrown out there. Well, classic extra ban, it's really strong. And not only that, we do know that Catito does like a Smolder mid. So, technically it's a flex pick for both players on Shurima. Meanwhile, the bans for Absolute Shurima have remained the same. Nothing has changed there. And now we will be end up seeing what Frostguard will add as their final ban. Question is, and they are just target banning Catito at this point. Now, this means that there's a fair amount of options left open, and Guma Sushi is opting for Ash, which is a very strong AD carry right about now. Doesn't have a lot of poor matchups. And there's a denial once again from Slenderwolf, because he also likes to share this champion. Their champion pools being rather similar, so it will probably be slimming that down real fast. Meanwhile, Slenderwolf opting for a Corki. Also currently a very strong on the patch in all phases of the game. Now the question is, what are they going to pair that up with?
I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know any of these bot lane matchups.
Well, the question is, will they provide some more engage, or are they going to get some peel? And that could be a Tamkinch most likely going over to Jason Matt. Technically could still go over to Wally in the top lane, although I haven't seen him play it as of yet. And to this Ooh. Absolute Cinema feel like they're just going to take away all of the Freljordian champions. And not only that, big surprise here, they have given away or gifted away the Ashe Seraphine combo. I'm fairly certain that right now production is absolutely doing a victory lap just because they're seeing Seraphine in the game. We all know
we've
that
seen a lot of teams practice this Ashe Seraphine combo inside the bot lane. It has been quite a common bot lane that we've been seeing throughout this whole entire tournament, and just with how strong it is currently, I'm not surprised.
And here for Frostguard, we see a Silas coming in. Now, this Silas most likely is going to be in the jungle. Elmo likes to pilot a Silas every now and then. However, it could also be flexed into the mid lane. We will end up seeing that once a couple of picks are going to come through. Now, if they are smart, they will end up leaving that Silas pick. They will pick their top laner and give the counter pick to Vileberg, making sure that it's uncertain where that Silas is going to be going. And we see another MF ban, so they are really throwing everything at Cat Bandit, making sure that he is not on his super comfort picks. And for absolute Shurima, surprisingly enough, BMW is not fancying his Darius and is preferring to ban it away. A pick that I would have expected to be rather contested for now has still not shown up, unfortunately, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing a Darius game. So for now, I will have to wait a bit longer, and then we see a Renekton ban answered by a near immediate Xerath ban, making sure that that one goes away. Xerath being a very strong poke champion from a large distance, which means that Absolute Shurima also think that this is a Silas jungle. And now we will see, will Frostguard give the counter pick to mid lane, or are they going to reserve it for the top lane? And it's going to be reserved for the top lane, trying to get Hwali onto a very strong champion. However, I think this is a bit of a mistake. You're giving counter pick arguably the best mid laner in kit. Bit of a disadvantageous decision right there. But more importantly, it is you're giving your top laner the counter pick, whereas most of his champion pool or his ultra comfort has completely been sealed, because Renekton has been banned by his own team. Aatrox has been and Darius have been banned by the opposition, and the Mordekaiser is already played. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Frostguard will end up top lane to play into a Mundo.
I'm very interested by this Mundo pick here, because I actually think that could be a flex, because I've been seeing Lee Sin lane coming up a lot more nowadays, specifically due to that E-buff for going to minions. Its cooldown instead of being 7 instead of 14 now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that this has to be at least in mid, because Sejuani is already locked in technically jungle. Mundo should then therefore go top lane. And Hwali is going to answer that with a set pickup.
It's going to be a Sejuani mid.
Not the... okay, well... that would be a surprise. This would be a very... yes, well... it's going to be a Sejuani mid, of course. Catito loving to do some special stuff and picking something out of the norm. And the fact that you've hid your mid pick this early and being able to take it away later on is once again a very smart thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that with how this matchup Sejuani into Veigar is going to be going, but this is going to be a very interesting one. I am slightly concerned for top because Set into Mundo generally isn't the most fun matchup. And we'll get
my main takeaway from most Mundo matchups is that while they may not be favorable, Mundo has a very easy time neutralizing most matchups.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm concerned about specifically is you're seeing Mundo seeing Sejuani. I'm expecting it to be Sejuani, tank Sejuani. Who knows? Maybe it's AP Sejuani. But if you see Mundo, if it's a front-to-back team fight, you're gonna have some tank shred, which means that you're gonna have to up early for Slenderwolf and Vileberg. So I hope that they are.
My main concern
their builds properly.
My main concern for the Shurima team here is that it looks like most of their, unless I don't know what Sejuani's damages are, but I'm looking here and it looks mostly like just 80 damage.
Sejuani has an AP variant, and you could build Seraphine AP as well. So I don't think that damage profile is that massively concerning. It could be very AD heavy, but then again, on the opposite side, you have technically one tank, and that is the Tam Kench. All the rest, they are bruiser or so you don't need to worry too much about somebody stacking full armor here. So the thing that I find more interesting is that Absolute Shurima is ending up taking more Freljord and Frostguard is playing. I think it's informed the Frostguard that they do have strong champions. You know, you could be picking them. You don't need to be sourcing it out to the other regions, mainly the Yordle region, because Frostguard have opted to take 2 Yordles into the fight. But we'll see how that will be going. Again, if you have to take a prediction, which side would you prefer and why?
I mean, I'm once again just looking over the Shurima. Shuriman's playing a very front-to-back, tanky, heavy... a very heavy tank team comp, so it might be difficult to shred through against that backline. And even the tanks will be dishing out a lot of damage, with Mundo being a juggernaut, Sejuani having a lot of CC inside of her kit. It could be hard to even try to get back and get rid of those sources of damage.
Fair enough. And we just saw a little message coming through announcing that Piltover took game 1 on the other series, and that is currently being streamed on a secondary channel with, and if I've got it correct, Lewis piloting that stream and making sure that they are currently doing casting that series. So if I'm looking at these two teams, I'm looking at what ults can Elmo take away. The ult is useful. The Seraphine ult is absolutely nice to have. The Sejuani ult is a nice one to take away. So decent ults to be taking away.
Yeah, Silas has a lot of options here with ults. If he needs the engage, obviously you have the Sejuani, the Ash Arrow, the Seraphine ult. If you need some more survivability, you have the Mundo ult to take. If there's somebody that you just want to isolate out from there, you have the Lee Sin. So I feel like this Silas could be the decider of this game, depending on how well he uses the ults in these fights.
Yep, he's going to be the X factor. And the other thing which it's harder to execute, but technically could be working if you get Mundo's pass and you can ult back into his team as set. You can do some real damage with that ultimate. So there are some options here, and
It is also quite
this
easy
time-
for Set to do that, having the E to get rid of his passive just like that in a snap of the fingers. His passive's gone, and he's within range to get that R off.
Now, the advantage for Frostguard is you've got an infinitely stacking mid laner, technically. The bad news, though, is that you've given over one of the most dominant AD carry combos right now, being Ashe Seraphine over to absolute cinema, and the person piloting the Sejuani in the mid lane is Katito, who will come up with some weird stuff. Like, I am fairly certain that just trying to ban him out it's a strategy that will not, or is not going to be, like, does not work into your favor too much. So, meanwhile, we are getting league noises from our thing, but we are not seeing
I'm
the
hearing
game yet.
I'm hearing some trading in the bot lane. Don't worry, it's the production's giving us that Lee Sin experience.
Meanwhile, we have gotten back into
But no,
the game.
we do have a little bit of trading. We do have a little bit of trading inside of the bot lane, nothing much just yet.
And that trading, I'm fairly certain that those were Mundo cleavers going around, to be fair.
I heard a mix. I did hear a mix. But it does look like Shurima's going to be having level 2 priority, and we do have an invade from the Lee Sin onto the Silas. Being able to just take away a camp so early and trading very heavily onto him. But while he is walking back, Lee Sin needs to get out, but he does get hit by that stun. He might just have to flash over. No time for a ward and E over.
Yeah, but he's been able to do a good job early on. Meanwhile, we do see Katito. Wow.
We do see
Putting some
Katsuto just
hurt.
absolutely shredding out this Veigar, and the knockup will land onto the ADC for the Shurima side, and that's going to result in a kill going over. Jason absolutely doing a really good job of finding that W on. A Q flash in the mid lane being responded to by the Veigar flash as well. A lot of damage going on to that Tom, but it does not look like the Tom is going to be going down just yet. And
Yeah,
honestly,
but
in
look,
mid lane,
CS
trading
difference-
flashes, the CS difference in the bot lane is already 8, and that wave is pushing away from them. You are right.
And not only that, a kill was invested over. Considering that Ashe Seraphine is an absolutely power lane, this is what you... If you are Freljord right now, you need a little pick-me-up. This is where it starts. This is what you absolutely needed. Mid lane, creative flashes, fairly decent.
A very good W timing from the Mundo there. Looks like Jason's going to be walking into this bush blind, but it does look like he's just going to be able to auto down this Seraphine while Center is busy taking away the Scuttle Crab.
And that means that Expert Bogey's in a bad position.
But he is going to be able to go over the wall and everything in time to make sure he doesn't die. Jason Wing into the middle of these two to kind of force them away from each other for a little bit, but it does not look like they're going to be capitalizing much on it, and Jason could be caught out in a bad position here, being so low with the Ashe chasing very hard. Is the Ashe going to be able to get the kill? It does look like Ashe is going to be able to get that kill, but we do have a little bit more trading in the mid lane as well, with the Veigar left on so little HP. One wrong move and it's done for. But we do see Elmo coming in from the gank from mid lane, making sure that that Sejuani does go down. Once again, does look like they are focusing on shutting down Cat Bandito early to make sure he does not snowball nearly as hard as he did last game.
Yeah, and a very nice thing to goad Katito into staying in the mid lane. One of the things that he is, one of his few flaws, is that he does like to be a tad over aggressive and a tad greedy. So it's something you can potentially play around. That being said, this game has started off fairly well. even across the board, a lot better than last game. And this is the one downside you have in the bot lane. If you do not put that pressure onto the Ashe, she will be able to cut you out and do a fair amount of damage. So each time Jason is in for a fight, once he pulls, he's committed, and he's at that point he's like a Spartan. He either dies and comes back on his shield, or he doesn't come back at all.
I mean, very good W timing from Mundo again, being able to pressure Wally a lot. And if this kill does go over to the Mundo, that is looking really bad in the top lane. Flash going out, but we do get a Bluetooth auto from the set. We have a little bit more fighting inside the mid lane as well, and it looks like the amount of CC that Sejuani has will just allow her to take out the Veigar through his flash, through the cage, and everything. It's just not enough to get away from this Sejuani.
And Thunderwolf doing an absolutely fantastic job at sidestepping there, but
we do have the exhaust going down onto Expert Baga. Jason is trying to look for a little bit more trades, but doesn't look like they're going to be happening. The Slender taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, and this wave is
and we missed to mention it, but first Drake did go over to the Shuriman's once again. The sidestep for the Silas E, making sure that they don't get caught, but we do see a flash from the Ashe invested in to make sure they do not get caught out in this situation. We do see Elmo just trying to help get this wave out for the bot lane, making sure the Slender is able to get his reset, being on so low HP and mana.
Yeah, and the surprise for me is BMW is absolutely taking Wally for a spin. Last game, he made sure that he was basically being more relevant than he could be, despite having being given the counter pick. And this game so far, Stead is not really showing up that much. And we all know that Mundo will go into push mode as soon as...
We do have the cage going out, landing onto center, does allow him to get a little bit of poke onto that jungler. Discourage him from ganking any longer, but BMW is just going to lose his passive there, leaving him open for any more set engages.
Yep, very much. So for now, though, the jungler's center has the better clear speed. Silas never been known to be a very good clearing jungler so far, and we will be seeing shortly how this is going to evolve. But if I am Wally right now, I am starting to be a tad concerned. Same for the mid lane.
We do see the flash coming out from Cat Bandino to land the ult onto Vilberg, and it looks like he's just going to absolutely burst him down. Tank, by the way.
No, not tank. AP, look at what he's building, though. He's going
I
to
see
AP
what he's
variant.
building.
And this is the... Hang on.
We do see a little bit of trading, just Jason making sure to zone the Seraphine away from Elmo doing those grubs.
And correct me if I'm mistaken, but that is technically the first neutral objective that the Frostguard have been able to take this series so far. So they are better off than last game. But meanwhile, center is invading, and
it looks like center is invading and is going to get responded to by both Vilberg and the support with the ADC walking up. We might see a little bit of fighting going on here. Center's forced to use his flash to get over the wall, but Jason being a little bit ambitious here, looking for a little bit more with the rest of his team backing him up. That does not look like they're within range for anything just yet.
And this is where I feel that you've got...
Jason looking for a very aggressive engage onto the bot lane here, but center is there to cover for the mid lane roam. Ooh, such lucky timing for the Mundo passive to be coming up right then and there. I think if that Mundo passive didn't come up right then, he would have just been dead.
Yeah, fair enough, fair thing, but this is where I am slightly concerned. Oh, we're gonna see if Catito has been spotted.
He's been spotted, he's locked inside of this cage. There's 3 people coming over, but Expert Baga is there with the Seraphine ult, charming everyone in, and it looks like everyone's just going to collapse onto that Seraphine ult, taking out 2 members from the Frost Guard immediately.
Yeah, and that means that once again they're starting to open up the lead. It's 10 minutes and the lead is at 3k. Catito having an absolute fun time in the mid lane with an AP Sejuani, ladies and gentlemen. Something we haven't seen in quite a while.
A little bit out of
that being said,
taking some heavy trade from the set, but it looks like he just has a bit too much HP at this point in the game for the set to really abuse him.
Yeah, but he hasn't gotten to his special version yet, or the push version.
Not to the special version just yet, but obviously getting those giant belts does just mean that he has a bit too much HP for people to like consistently trade onto him and put him into kill range. We do see the Rocket Bell going out from Cat Bandito. He's inside of the cage once again. And it looks like Tom is also here to help out in the mid lane, getting all of those as well as the stun down. The knockup from Jason as well. That's going to be the kill going over to Vilberg. But it does look like the Drake is going to be going over to the Shurima team once again with a 4v2, 4v1 realistically right here, with Center being caught out completely. But Center lives for quite a while, but he's not going to be able to take out Elmo before the rest of the team gets to him.
And very big here is stealing that dragon, and it's going over to absolute Shurima. You need to know that if you're up against the Lee Sin, he's got that execute damage with his Q and
Q2.
Afterwards a resonating strike to add that onto a smite, which basically means that you are always about 200-300 HP in the hole.
Seen Ash Arrow coming out looking for Vilberg, but it does not look like it'll connect. And are once again forced to use that flash to get out of there, but having to use his flash, I'm very, very sad if I'm Vilberg here, playing in a mobile mid laner. That flash being down means he's open to anything, and he'll have to play safe for these next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and things are once again slightly getting out of the control of the Frost Guard. And if you're a Frost Guard right now, what is very important is just stem the bleeding. You have the scaling on your side, you just need to make sure that you stem the bleeding. However, I'm not sure how much longer Huali's going to be able to stay in that top lane, because guess who's got 3 Giants belts already?
These cleavers have just been connecting one after another. Oh my god. Getting so much damage down, obviously being current health, max HP, magical damage on Mundo's Q. It does make it so that you get poked down a lot. See TP from Wally, catching Mundo in a little bit of a bad position. He's forced to use his Ghost to make sure that the set does not chase him any further.
Meanwhile, our boy Jason Matt pulling around and finding Lee Sin taking out the Scuttle Crab.
And
now,
the flash onto Vilberg from Cat Bandito, but it does not look like it'll be enough him just yet. But there comes the ult from Cat Bandito as well, and that's just going to be Vilberg getting taken out. Elmo is there, but he's just, you know, too little too late.
And he did use his Dragon Stance ultimate, making sure that he got the kill. I felt that was a bit of an over usage from Center. However, we will be seeing more as the top lane goes. And guess who has
at this point,
reached
we
his,
see Mundo
magic
has
point.
we see Mundo has that Warmog, so he's just trading like an absolute maniac inside of the top lane right now.
Surprising our good old production hasn't.
Elmo getting caught out a little bit by the Sejuani Q, with Veigar and Silas looking to contest this space inside of the bot jungle. It looks like Sejuani and Seraphine are just going to walk away, but this is going to mean that Guma is alone inside of the bot lane, forced to use his flash to make sure that he does not get engaged on by that Tom. But he does land the ult onto, he does land the Ash Arrow onto Slender, but Slender is eaten by the Tom to save his life.
Yeah, and the Gustin now hitting the target, which is very nice. However, and this
We have more fighting inside the bot lane, a
fighting in
3v2 with an amazing Seraphine ult, making sure that Xemaniac is not able to engage onto his ADC at that time. What a wonderful Seraphine ult, and we see the ult going out from Sejuani onto Huali. It looks like there's just not really much that Huali can do while having the counter pick in a favorable matchup. It looks like Mundo is kind of just running away with this lead.
And the one thing I wanted to mention earlier, downside.
We have even more fighting happening inside of the mid lane. Vilberg taking a lot of damage. That Q just about misses. So I think Vilberg might be able to get out here, as long as he doesn't get hit by that. But he does! And that's going to be Vilberg just going down to his Lee Sin. But he's going to get caged, so he's stunned. So Xemaniac is able to take a lot of damage onto him, but there is a fortunate blast going to Bale Center out there.
Yeah, and the big difference here is that, and this was what I wanted to get back earlier, if we get the time, sometimes you've seen Jason Matt taking rather aggressive trades, and his team either not on the same board or not wanting to back it up. So it does feel like there's a little disconnect there regarding team communication, or at least play style. This is the downside when you do have an emergency sub. And the only thing we can hope for is that Captain Nipple will actually get to play a series before it's completely gone. Jason Matt pulling out just in time.
With the third Drake coming down, it looks like we're about to get a fight inside of the bot side river. We see that they're all nice and close to each other. With Center taking control of this pit, he's going to E back over to make sure he doesn't get caught out, but this Drake's health is ticking, and they do not want it, the Shurimans do not want it going over, but the Corki does in fact get it, with the smite being probably just a tad bit too early from Center there. But the Sejuani ult does land onto Slender Wolf. He gets ate by the Tom, but the Tom does get kicked back into the rest of the team, and that means that both of them are going to be taken out just like that. Unfortunate for Tom's ult right there.
Very good play by Center, realizing that Tom would eat somebody, making sure that he positions himself so that he can then cheek them on the outside.
That is going to be
the
mid-turn going down
right now,
for...
this gold lead...
That's going to be the mid-turn going down for the... Sorry, no, you go on. My bad.
Mid-turret has gone down in the meanwhile, and this gold lead is just growing. It's 5k at 18 minutes, and although it's not as hard as a wash as game 1, it does feel like it's a bit of deja vu, with Center showing up and absolutely having a field day in the jungle, and Expert Boga slotting in seamlessly in the support role for this series. So it's going to be interesting to see how they will progress after this. Big gold leads are on the top side of the map. Mundo, Lee Sin, and Sejuani all about 1.5k gold up, and that just means that they can take control of the Herald.
With that Rift Herald going down already, it just feels like... Oh, and the Ashar goes out with the Seraphine ult also going out to just secure this kill onto Slender Wolf. That means that this mid lane is going to be completely uncontested for now, but we see both the jungler and support moving down into the mid lane to try to protect this turret. Staying inside of the Fog of War, hoping that Ashe Seraphine walk up, but it looks like they're a bit too... They're onto their schemes, they're onto their plans, and they're going to be walking away. Unfortunately, the Sejuani ult does in fact miss, but he's going to flash over the wall, and he is going to be able to get that kill from the slow from the Sejuani ult anyway.
I'm surprised the Gatito didn't just take that turret. It's on...
I'm very surprised, but...
2 digits health at this point, probably not even 40.
It does not look like Mundo is in a good position right here, though, but he does have... I do believe he does have his ult if worse comes to worse. But it does look like he's just going to be able to get out after using that ghost. Beautifully sidestepping the Tom Q. But Tom is going to be staying, and Mundo being a little bit over-aggressive here, maybe. His maybe being a little bit over aggressive. There goes the passive, and he's gonna pulled in by the set, knocked up by the Tom, using his W to try to mitigate a lot of the damage going down, but he's stunned once again. He's left on very little HP. He gets the speed boost and the health boost from his ult, but he's once again stunned. Will they be able to take him down before he gets into the safety of his turret? Set takes him away from the turret. So much is being invested in taking down this, to be able to take down this Mundo, and all while he's been able to survive for so long. The rest of the team is here to back him up. Mundo does in fact get away, and the rest of the team is here. The Avengers have assembled. It looks like a play that originally looked bad for the Mundo has resulted in the biggest bait for the Frost Guards to leave over 2 kills over to the Shurima team.
And this is where Mundo enters his push era. I'm surprised that our production hasn't queued up the song just yet, because at this point it's just Hawali is going to end up having a massive amount of damage, but it's just a wet noodle fight for him, because any damage he's going to be doing, it's just going to end up being healed up by the Mundo. Mundo also being the near richest guy on the map, and having been able to keep up with Cat Bandito, who has more kills.
And it looks like
that.
Ashe is gonna have to use her flash to avoid getting caught out there. Center is on the invade with 3 people all around him, but they do not know that he's on top of the Gromp right now. He does get to take it away without any punishment.
And we got to quickly see the damage graphs right now. Hwali has done most damage of the game. He's just a smidge under 20k. However, he hasn't got a single kill for it, because he's just hitting a wet noodle, one that will just automatically heal any damage he does up. And as a set right now, you just gotta be feeling horrible, because this Mundo is just gonna scale massively into this game.
And once again, this Herald they took earlier, they're using it to open up the mid-tier 2 and driving it all the way around to try and hit. There we go, it does connect with the bot tier 2 as well. But it looks like Mundo's caught out with 5 people all around him. Looks like a lot of damage going down with the Mundo all going down. We see the Ashe arrow connect onto Hwali as well as the Sejuani ult connecting on. But the Mundo is finally taken down. It looks like the Silence has stolen the Sejuani ult and is using that to try to go back for an engage, but the Frost Guards are taking a lot of damage. Will they be able to close out this fight in time? It's left to a 3v3 between all of them. And Vilberg taking so much damage. He's caught out once again before that cage goes down. And we have a quadra kill over to the ADC, and Hwali is the last one alive on this team. And Ashe is looking for this Penta. And the Penta's taken away.
They did a bit too much effort to donate the Penta over to Guma Sushi, stopping to do the damage. But that's the problem with Hwali and on set. If you do damage, he is just going to throw his haymaker and come back with an absolute punch. And if you're standing in the middle of that, well, there, Guma Sushi, I'm sorry to say, but you will end up being sushi for the set.
I mean, all things considered, that fight was quite a bad fight to get. They were trying to recover a Mundo getting caught out of position. So just the fact that they were able to get 5 for 3 is such an amazing feat there, and it just goes to show how large this gold lead is, the damage difference in these teams.
And if you do a quick set of math, you will have realized that right now
you see Elmo just getting caught out, trying to do his red. This late in the game, this isn't your red anymore, Elmo, and you've got to get that through your head. Because Vilbert is going to be getting eaten by the Tahm Kench to keep him alive from the Sejuani's absolutely disgusting burst damage.
And the thing is, right now, one team has 100...
Oh, Cat Bandito blasting in, getting stat ulted, maybe a little bit too over-ambitious with that blast going in.
And in typical Cat Bandito fashion, he keeps limit testing and just goes that step too far. So unfortunately, however, while he does that, this team does end up with the Baron. So they do end up securing that, and right now with 25 minutes past, it's a 10k gold lead and if you are in the shoes of the Frost Guard, you gotta be absolutely dreading this, because this is the second game where you are really far behind, and so far your adaptations haven't worked as you're hoping. Yes, your early game was a bit better, but still, Cat Bandito managed to get a massive lead in the mid lane, and even though that hasn't been as horrible as this game, the problem is none of the other lanes have gotten any leads, and basically your entire team is playing behind.
Just looking in the jungle, the CS gap between Sylas and Lee Sin is absolutely insane as well.
Yeah, but that is, in all fairness, to be expected, because Sylas has never been known for really quickly clearing his jungle, whereas Lee Sin
I'd attribute it more to just the amount of leads that have been generated across the map for the Shurima team. This jungle has not been Sylas's for quite a long time.
Granted, but he hasn't been trying that much either. He's been looking to see if he can set up his
with the Ash Arrow connected onto Slender Wolf, we'll be looking for any more. Center going in onto Xenia, taking a lot of damage. That's going to be Seraphine ult going out, making sure that the Corki gets taken down. Vilberg is on the side, coming together with the team to try and defend this mid turret. That is going to be the Seraphine ult taken by the Sylas, but Sylas is on half HP. Does he dare to get close enough to try to use this ult? Does not look like he will. He's going to go back to the Fountain to heal up before this next fight. With Mundo just in the side lane, pushing out a full turret. Gets to take all of it away. Doesn't even lose his passive so far. The exhaust goes onto him. He's taking a lot of damage. Pops the ult, but he's getting caught by all of this CC. He's stunned once again. Wally is there to try and deal more and more damage to him. The Haymaker going out, but once again, you just cannot take out this Mundo fast enough. It looks like Sender's here to once again clean up, and there goes the Seraphine ult from the Sylas, but the Tom is already down. It's a little bit too late. The Sent ult from the Sent ult isn't enough to kill anybody on the enemy team, and it looks like we might be getting into our final fight once again, with Baron minions once again just slowly whittling away at this turret, and Mundo sat there doing all this damage to this turret. There's not much they can do, but Slender getting caught a little bit, using his W to get back into the fountain. He's able to stay alive, but will he be able to stop the Nexus going down? The answer is no!
And meanwhile, this has once again been a Baron play where they've just used the Baron to absolutely roll up their opponents, becoming absolutely unstoppable, and the opposition not having the wave clear to be able to defend their base. 2 games in a row where the Baron was just the go button and made sure that they just rolled their entire opposition. And right now, you're in a 2-0 hole, Freljord. It's time to throw caution to the wind and bring out something where you feel comfortable that you can actually pull a game back. Hopefully for them, Cat and Nipple will be able to rejoin a team, and they will be able to operate at full strength. But we will be seeing that later on. Before we go to a break, we must not forget MVP and ace for this game. Last time I was the first one to sit. Who would you give the ace and the MVP in this game, Cinco?
So for the ace, I'd say that once again, I would say Slender being the ace for the... Nope. I'd say once again, Slender being the ace for the Frost Guards once again. Just being able to have quite a good laning phase, trying his absolute hardest to create a lead, and just all in all being able to do his absolute best. But MVP for this game, I think without a doubt has to go to Center. Center had some... I think with just the way that Center played, it was absolutely amazing. Especially that play onto the Tom where he kicked him back. We're getting both the Tom and the Corki. I think it was absolutely phenomenal.
This game, initially I was thinking about Cat Bandito had pulled that one rabbit out of his hat once again, but I do agree with the MVP vote. It should be going over to Center for this game, He has played phenomenally, managed to steal an objective on the Lee Sin, and his kicks were generally rather good. Ace-wise, I am not going to go for the Slender. Slender Wolf did play decently, but I feel like he was not that spectacular this time. The person who I'm going to give it to is Wally, because Wally took a matchup in the top lane and he did his damnness to contain it. But it does feel like when you're playing against the Mundo and you get his passive down, you need to be giving some help. And he didn't end up taking that, unfortunately. So that is the rest. That we also have been informed that the failure have decided to forfeit Game 3, so this series will be coming to a close, unfortunately. It also means that Cat Nipple, we gotta give him a shout out as well, because I do feel absolutely horrendous for him, having prepared and done everything to be able to play this series, and unfortunately, due to a power outage still not being fixed, he is not able to join up with the rest of his team, and so the Freljord have decided to unfortunately forfeit the game and just will be playing the next bracket once they are back. That means that we have MVP and Ace for the series to be determined. For the series, who's your MVP? Who's your Ace?
For MVP, I have to give it to Cat Bandito. And both the games had such a phenomenal, just an absolute phenomenal run in both games that were played. Even though Censored was running away with everything in Game 2, Cat Bandito overall did his absolute best, and it showed.
For the MVP of the series, let me see here the debate: Center or Cat Bandito. I'm gonna give it to Cat as well. I think he is deserving, even though he got a bit too over-eager in Game 2. He had two very good series on both sides. Game 1, he was absolutely ultra-dominant. And Game 2, well, he had a good showing, just being a bit too overconfident at times, meaning that he put himself in some pretty harmful situations. Forgetting that he was playing AP Sejuani, not Tank Sejuani, who can take an absolute punishment and still get out of it scot-free. That's not the case when you play it at AP Sejuani.
Disgusting tank players.
I mean, disgusting tank players. You're the guy who's playing ranged top laners. Disgusting.
Okay, I'll say it right here. Ranged top laners harder than melee top laners. I play both.
Nah, strong disagreement.
Infinitely easily punishable. All right.
Strong disagreement on that one.
All right. You show me your vein, Penta.
That being said, we still have got an ace to come up with, and for me, I'm ace for this series. You know what? I'm gonna get. Do I want to give it to Slender? Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it to Slender Wolf. Slender Wolf had a good series. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get anything out. He also wasn't playing with his usual support. Game 1, despite all that, he still had a massive gold lead. Game 2, a proper gold lead. Game 2, he wasn't able to get ahead. He did secure first blood, but after that, a bit too much bravado and not respecting the Ashe Seraphine combo ended up meaning that he was put behind, but it wasn't too poorly. So I'd say ace for the series, definitely Slender Wolf is a proper thing. Wouldn't you agree?
I could not agree more. I think you've just hit the nail right on the head.
Right. And then our jolly fun producer has informed us that this will more or less be the end for this series, and therefore we will be sending you over to the Piltover versus I forgot the Demacia series. which is currently 1-0 to Piltover, and they should be in game 2. So we will be shouting out our two fellow casters, Rex and Uncle Lewis, or Lewis the Dinosaur, also known as Lewis the Prehistorian. And therefore, it will be time to bid you farewell for now. Hope to see you on a future stream.
Thank you all so much for watching this
Bye-bye.
series. Hope you guys enjoy watching the next one just as much. You have a great one. Perfect.
Well, this is an interesting one.